Today I'll be explaining how to tie a white woolly bugger with a couple of strands of flash in the tail. Some materials I used were feathers, Marabou, Chanel, thread, and size 8 hooks. To start the fly, we do touching wraps up and down the hook shank and cut off the excess. Next, you cut about 4 inches of lead wire and I wrap it on about halfway down the hook shank up to the eye. When wrapping the wire, make sure it doesn't poke out too far away from your hook, so either push it down or try and cut it down further towards the hook, then wrap and thread till it's covered. Next, get your piece of Marabou and pinch it together till your desired tail length and make sure it's all flat and even. Next, tie on your piece of Marabou on top of the hook shank and make sure everything's even. Next, cut off a few strands of flash to put into your Marabou. Once you have a couple strands of the flash, tie it on both sides of your Marabou. Next, get your Chanel pack and cut off about 4 to 5 inches. Carefully tie in your Chanel without messing up your tail. Once you've tied on your Chanel, start making wraps up towards the eye. Once you've tied in all your Chanel, move your thread up and down the hook shank to make sure it's all tied down correctly. But also be careful you don't squish down the Chanel too much. Next, get a nice long feather and separate some of the Hackle fibers from where you'll be tying on. Next, cut off the little piece that was left over from where you tied your feather on. Once you've cut off the extra, start wrapping your feather towards the eye. When wrapping your feather, make sure your hackles are always pointing towards the hook and not sideways. Carefully start to end your feather with some thread wraps. Also be careful not to trap any fibers underneath your thread when tying off your feather. Once you're done, cut off your feather, but be careful not to cut off any other fibers. You can choose to leave these feathers here or cut them like I did. Here I used a whip finish to complete the fly.